We're now going to look at a typical Spanish literature cinema resource, and I'm going to talk you through Requiem por un campesino español. Sorry, Spanish isn't really my language. And here you'll see the course set up, ready to go. And as with all A-level texts, the students working on them are going to find the sheer amount of unknown vocabulary a problem. So rather than having the teacher going through the whole book word for word, word by word, we've produced a vocabulary that is page by page, that can be downloaded in the PDF form onto a phone or an iPad, so that the user can just flick through and find the vocab in the correct order. So we're using the Manchester version of the work, which obviously has notes and things in, and I think that's one of the most useful elements of the materials, to stop the student rushing straight to the translation. Then what we've done is we've set questions to go with each unit, each section, so they can prepare the answers to the questions. You can go through them in class orally to test whether they've understood properly. Or it could be something you did later on, going back over to check they've remembered well. And then the summary. The summary is there to get the students to practice the different parts of the verb, putting the correct part of the verb in, at the same time as reminding themselves of what happens in detail within the story. And then you've got the key vocabulary, which is going to help their quality of language mark going down the side there. So a very useful way of making sure that they can revise the content of the book fairly quickly. And talking about character is very important. It's one of the favourite essay titles, comparing two characters, that kind of thing. And so a thinking skills type of activity here can easily get some good discussion going about to what extent someone is falso, resoluto, or whatever on a scale of 1 to 4, and having to give the reasons for that, because obviously reasoning is all part of analysis. And then we also give some ways of putting the adjectives into sentences in an elegant way. One of my past students once asked for a verb, me to take a verb through all the different tenses so that she could make sense of it all. And so this is what we've done in this one. The same verb used across there horizontally, two separate verbs used, and the idea is that they would do something like that themselves to really get to grips with the tense structure. Another thing I'm often asked when I do a A-level literature course is to what extent direct quotations should be used. Well, I think they need to have a forensic knowledge of the text, and so it's very good for them to be able to recognise who said what and when, which is what this first exercise is about. And then we take them on to do reported speech, because reported speech is a very elegant way of of giving quotation rather than fitting in the direct quotation. The A factor is also looking at different types of good quality language. So you've got the reflexive there, which is so well used in Spanish, and then the imperative, followed by the subjunctives, and all the sentences there are put into the context of the novel. We then have themes, so the writer has put thematic titles around the sides, and the students have to match up the quotations. Essay plans, we really push the non-linear essay plan. Read the essay title very carefully and then get your ideas down in separate parts of the page, and then add as and when the ideas come at the planning stage. Very crucial. And then the notion of short introduction, conclusion with fairly regular standard length paragraphs, with the sample essay following on to give an example. The mark schemes are there so that the students can check their own work for the summary verbs, etc. The only one you don't have answers for is the the questions, where they have to find their own ones. Then we've got some of the things you may well have found yourself, the AQA guide to the novel. Some nice questions by a lady called Paulita on Quizlet, a version of the film which may or may not disappear, and a lecture on the novel. And last but not least, the excellent JEC resources on theme, structure, character and context. So that's just one of the titles. If you subscribe to the Spanish materials for £20 a year, you get the whole lot, and we'll be adding to these things as we go along, particularly essays with comments on how they've been marked and how the students could improve and that kind of thing. Okay.